thank the grace of heaven and the transmitters and all the senior members to be able to present this class to everyone. And so therefore, I want to, then I also want to thank the moderator to be doing this moderation of this class. Okay, so I guess I can start with this class. Okay, the class is really a class that was a sutra done by the holy teacher in 2009. Is it 2019? I believe it was. And basically, it was sometime in September, October, or maybe even November. That time frame. It was near the fall. And so therefore, we had sort of like what we call a talent class. We call it, I guess I'll call it a talent class because it's called 人才 班, the class for the the talents, I guess. And basically, it was before the pandemic. And so therefore, we definitely had a lot of people. Of course, nowadays it's different because now even the Dharma classes and even the eventual talent class that we're having in June will basically be limited in terms of like numbers of people because of, again, this pandemic, if you will. Okay. And so therefore, anyway, I like to basically, I'll talk about this presentation in mainly just three parts. First part is basically the beginning of the 4 lines that you see, and that was basically the holy teacher presented the first 4 lines because basically it's really like a summary of what he's going to talk about in more detail, so to speak. And then the second part is, of course, the introduction of the holy teacher and his etc. And basically. That's only a short part. And then the last part is basically the scripture itself. Okay. And so right now, I'll begin to talk about the beginning. And okay, basically the holy teacher said, okay, we must treat people with kind and gentle words. Okay, I'll read the first 4 lines first. Okay, we must treat people with kind and gentle words. It is necessary to be sincere and harmonious in the ways of life. Everyone has unlimited potential. Encountering the Tao and becoming enlightened creates a new pattern of relationships. Okay, so these 4 lines basically sort of like tries to encompass the everything that he wants to talk about, but basically he'll sort of like do the more detailed sutra, so to speak, that outlines approximately like 24 lines, or no, sorry, 34 or 35 lines. And basically, he will, when we go to the details of the sutra itself. Okay, so basically, what he's talking about essentially is the fact that in line 1, basically you're saying that, okay, we should treat people with kind and gentle words. Well, when we were having different classes, when Amy was doing the class about her presentation was about like Tao in the workplace, so to speak, and also Jean's also presentation on like finding, saying good things, etc. Well, basically, yeah, that is what she was talking. Those 2 presentations at the beginning was talking about. Essentially, we also must treat people with kind words and gentle and kind words, because, like I say, in the Western society, we talk about like what's called common courtesy. Okay, and basically, common courtesy is basically just to say, okay, you say good things, and basically you treat people very well, okay, or hopefully very well, okay. And so therefore, then we have to, we can be able to get along with each other, Okay, and basically that is leads into basically line 2, which essentially says it is necessary to be sincere and harmonious in the ways of life. Okay, because after all, in the I guess there's a saying in in society, people normally says, like we talk about like the good old days, quote unquote, good old days. Well, what does that really mean? Okay, for example, like in I don't know, so many Western movies, you see a person just say a few things and then they do everything with just a handshake, and basically this handshake sort of like says everything, because it then says that, oh, we don't have to do a contract, blah blah blah. It's just a handshake, because after all, they are bounded by their words that they what they say, okay, in the the agreement of whatever they decide to do. Okay, so therefore, in this way, that when we find that it is necessary to be harmonious in this way of life, in the ways of life, it's only because of the fact that yes, we find that we need to cooperate with each other if we can do things better or more thoroughly, etc. And so therefore, we also must be sincere in our words, in our way, also in our ways, to be able to get trust among people. Okay. So therefore, these two things basically are something that we need to, especially lines 1 and 2, we need to try to get better. I guess I'll put it that way. Okay. Then the third line is basically say everyone has a limited potential. Well, it just means the fact that yes, everyone as a human, of course, we have the ability to think, to be able to do things, to talk to others, to get our ideas across, etc. And so therefore, we are able to have I guess I'll still call it potential, the potential to do things or to get things done. Okay, just as for example, we talk about like when in the 1960s, I believe, or whatever, when John F. Kennedy basically wanted to go to the moon, for example. Okay, well, in less than 10 years, they were able to do that. And that required a lot of what? Ingenuity, as well as, of course, certain aspects of technology, because technology was not as developed as this, today, let's put it that way. And so therefore, they had to think about ways to try to get things done. And in those days, basically, they have a lot of problems to try to, do the work that they had to do to get people to the moon. And also, when they also had problems like Apollo 13 time, they had to like find ways to try to do things. And so therefore, yes, we do have a lot of potential. But the problem is that when we say a limited potential, that's true, but it really goes both ways too also. So therefore, we should keep that in mind when we talk about unlimited potential, when everyone has this unlimited potential. So the first 3 lines essentially is talking about the way we treat people, okay, and how we can harmonize with everyone or cooperate with everyone. And so therefore, that can fully develop our human potential. Let's put it that way, all right? So therefore, it allows us to be able to do a great deal of things. And also, fortunately, also things that can advance, our society, as well as, unfortunately, also our technology. But then also, with that in mind, we need to also have put it in a grain of salt in the sense of this potential, because after all, we also have a great deal of potential to try to do some destructive things. Okay, all right. So anyway, so these are the 3 lines basically that describes what we, what we are. Okay, and then the 4th line basically is stating when encounter the Tao and becoming enlightened creates a new pattern of relationships. Okay, well, what is that type of, relationship? I mean, because after all, when we talk about encountering the Tao, okay, sure, for us, Tao kin, we just say, okay, we already have received the Tao, the blessing, etc., and then becoming enlightened. Well, that's a different story. Basically, we are also about learning the Tao, and then to basically to live with the Tao, and then to even, for those to teach the Tao, let's put it that way, and then to also be a good model for the Tao, okay? And then eventually, hopefully, we can realize or attain the Tao. And basically that's being like enlightened aspect, okay? And what does it mean to say basically creating a new pattern of relationships? Well, when we're listening to the previous lectures, presentations, by like, for example, Amy or even Jean, lecture Jean, a bit, they were talking about like, the different relationships within the family and society, and also the virtues that we should, expound in our human relationships. Okay, basically, we are talking about a real new pattern of relations, meaning the fact that once we learn about the Tao, we've began to realize the fact that, yes, those are the things that we need to try to eventually, let's put it that way, emulate what the Buddha or the saints or Buddhas, okay, have. And so therefore we try to express or manifest those the good things, I would say, okay, or the ways in which that we can manifest the Tao in our everyday life. And so that is what it's talking about when what this line is talking about is basically creating the new pattern of relationships. Okay, and then those relationships eventually we will talk about in the third part. But first, okay, so basically these are the first three lines that the Holy Teacher gave us. And then now he begins to introduce himself, okay, to everyone. Okay. Okay, and this is very short because it just says, okay, I am, okay, and then Jigong Living Buddha, having received that, the word for mu or mu, the very beginning right here. Okay, it's not the right, proper mu because it's supposed to be equal the other mu, which is like just inverted 90 degrees, okay, and basically it's equal. It's like that same. It's the same sound mu, but the word is a little bit different, okay. And then it basically says, having received God's command or his mandate. Let's put it that way. Here, Jigong Living Buddha arrived in彌勒寶堂, which is Mila Precious Temple, and then upon entering, Jigong Living Buddha pays his respect to, again, God. Okay, again, that word mu is not the proper mu, but because it's not really in the dictionary, let's put it that way. All right, and then having paid his respect to God, basically he then turns towards us and basically asks, "My disciples, is everyone well?" Okay, and so basically that essentially was the I guess his greetings to God as well as to ourselves. Okay, our his disciples. Okay, then we begin the actual scripture itself. Okay, line 6. Okay, the way of Tao, the Tao way of life, the Tao way of life has thousands of means and paths, or ways, ways or paths. Okay, and basically he's basically saying the fact that there is many different ways, or he says thousands, which is true. The actual word in Chinese is here, which is 千万. Okay, it's thousands plus like the 10,000s. Okay, of ways in which that we can or get on in life. Okay, and basically now what's important is the fact that he phrases the word as 人生千万条, and then technically he could have just said the last word lu, L-U. Okay, but instead he said 条道物. Okay, so he prefaced it with the word, with the last word, which is meaning road, okay, or pass, okay. And so therefore he sort of like is basically, he's of course, since Holy Teacher is talking about, wants to talk about the Tao, of course he's really trying to let us know the fact that yes, there is a hundreds of ways, but there is, however, a particular way that you should choose that path. Okay, and then he comes by and says basically, okay, just he basically says one's direction and way or goal must be clear. One's own way must be very clear about what we want to do or the goal that we want to attain, so to speak. Okay, and he just basically saying that yes, when we have so many different paths, okay, I mean, in society, in mundane society, we only talk about like mostly the path to what, wealth, fame, or maybe some for some people power. Okay, but that is really not the true way in which that we should try to take that path. Okay, or I would say no, not true. Yeah, it is. I guess I'll call it the true way. But because after all, he is talking about, the Holy Teacher is talking about the Tao way. Let's put it that way, the Tao way. Okay, so anyway, but he continues to saying in line 8, is saying, as long as we put our heart and dedication into this path, and then he says of cultivation. Okay, because he basically says that when we 修道, which is to cultivate, then the Tao, this way or this path that we take, okay, should have what? Or no, not, well, should have, I guess you could say should have, because should have this dedication, let's put it that way, okay, and also your heart and mind totally into it, okay, so that only then can you truly become clear about this particular path of Tao that we want to take, okay. Okay, and then he continues by saying the fact that to take this particular path of cultivation, okay, this path of cultivation, then only then can you transcend the worldly or not be fazed by prevalent customs. Okay, I use the word, I put that in parentheses only because of the fact that, basically it's just anything that's worldly. Okay, all right. So, I mean, what do we mean by worldly? Oh, of course, the fact that, we have to realize that, the whole idea is eventually to try to realize the Tao, okay, which is what was said in line 4, okay, about encountering the Tao and then becoming enlightened about the Tao, okay, or to realize the Tao. Okay. All right. Oh, next line. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, to realize that. Okay. To basically to transcend the worldly. Now, what does it mean by really transcend the worldly? Well, he says it by the next line basically saying that, and also to be able to, well, and also I use and, but it's okay. It's really, he basically just mentions the fact that you need to definitely be able to, must be able to what? Let go. Okay, let go means, of course, it is the thing that's worldly. That's true. The worldly things that we let go. Okay, but since we are all human, let's put it that way, in this physical body. So thus, we need to still understand the fact that we still have to avoid or abide by the rules of rules of relationships. Let's put it that way. Okay, because after all, when I think it was Amy last year that presented about those his topic, his presentation. Basically, he's talking about like there was like 5 relationships that we have, and also like 8 virtues. And because those the relationships were like what ruler and subject, father and son, siblings, siblings to siblings, let's put it that way. And then let's see, husband and wife, and also with friends. Okay, so those are the 5 relationships. Because after all, these 5 relationships that was described by the Confucian philosophy encompasses every relationship. Because after all, when you say superior to subject, basically it's also the same. Subject to superior, same thing. Okay, and father and son, same thing. It's or mother in this society right now. It's basically also a mother, because after all, in the in Confucian time, it was more patriarchal society as opposed to today. And basically, you're talking about fathers and mothers to like sons or sons and sisters, or sons and daughters, excuse me, sons and daughters. Okay, and then so with the siblings is just both sons and daughters. Okay, and then also and then the last the 4th relationship was of course a husband and wife. That's basically a very a close relationship, intimate relationship, and therefore it is a lot more a lot more deeper, let's put it that way, than the relationship between like, for example, friends, between friends and friends, let's put it that way. Okay, so okay. Okay, then Holy Teacher continues to say the fact that should not be bound by mundane affairs. Okay, that is basically what follows on line 10, which is basically to let go. Okay, to let go of things that we are what we call the mundane affairs. Okay, the worldly affairs, as mentioned also in the previous line, to transcend the worldly. Okay, and so when we talk about like the worldly affairs or the mundane affairs, of course, he's really talking about in a way in which that how we can transcend that. Okay, or not be bound by these mundane affairs. So, first of all, for us, it is basically to learn about the Tao, to understand the Tao, to learn about, vegetarianism if you want. And also, it basically is what were you talking about? Like the thoughts, speech, action of what would be or should be manifested, let's put it that way, to a person who is a Tao cultivator. Okay. Okay, so line 12 basically means the fact that, decidedly take a step towards decidedly take a steady step, a steady step towards the path of truth, which is, I'm put it in parentheses, the cultivation of the Tao, or cultivating Tao. Okay. Because after all, when we're talking about letting go and also the mundane affairs, let's put it this way, we're still human, okay? And so therefore, unfortunately, as a human, we tend to have what we call an ego. And after all, the ego is something that we experience in life that basically accumulates the amount of experiences that we have in life, and also the action of others that we see in life. Okay. And basically that sort of like, in a way, dictates how our ego is. Okay. And so therefore, this ego, or the human heart, I'll call it the human heart, as opposed to the Tao heart, okay, is something that sort of like can get in the way of this cultivation that we do, okay, that we're trying to do, that we're trying to do, okay. So therefore, when we decidedly take a steady step, basically it means the fact that we have to take be wholeheartedly and also dedicate this path to this cultivation, okay? And so therefore, yes, it is true that we can still be distracted by many things, mundane things, etc. Okay, and so therefore, we need to try to be able to maintain that path to this cultivation, okay? And then on basically this, after line 12, basically sort of like starts a different paragraph, okay? And line 13, basically he says the fact that cultivating the style really requires hard work in daily life. Now, what does he really mean by hard work? Okay, so when we are human, okay, as after all, we are human trying to eventually manifest the Tao in daily life. Okay, so therefore, the hard work that he's talking about is the fact that we should be mindful in thoughts, speech, action, because after all, these are things that can have consequences for others, okay? And so therefore, we should be, I guess we can say, very considerate of others, of course, okay? But also the fact that we need to really be mindful of ourselves. Mostly is to be mindful of ourselves, okay? Because after all, when I was reading or I think he was listening to a topic about Buddhism, the question was asked to a monk or a senior elder of the monk, and basically, the question was asked, how do you put Buddhism in one word? In one word, okay, the whole 3,000 something sutras, the whole many different canons or whatever, yet he has to condense that into one word. And basically, he said this. He goes, it was just mindfulness. Okay, so essentially, you're talking about, yes, when we are trying to cultivate this Tao, it is very hard work, only because of the fact that you need to be mindful in your thoughts, your speech, and your actions. Okay, because after all, and basically, it's also in daily life. So therefore, if you are mindful of whatever you do or whatever you think, okay, or say, then this way you can then what? Have time to reflect upon what was just said, done, or thought about, okay, in daily life. And so therefore, when you then begin to reflect then upon what you had done, then you can you can then begin to manifest that cultivation of the Tao. Okay, all right. So the next line, basically, the Holy Teacher says, cultivating Tao is not to become more and more constrained by fame, fortune, and power. After all, as humans, we have all these, I'll call it environmental and external influences, okay, that we have, because after all, we are human, and so therefore we need to basically try to be mindful of these things, okay? And so therefore, when we try to pursue this cultivation, okay, we must not be constrained by things, that's fame. Okay, when people, I want to do research very well so that I can then get a Nobel Prize or whatever. Well, yeah, okay, it's true that when they try to when they're trying to research very well, they're not mindful of the fact that they will receive a prize, or rather the fact that they will at least be able to help society. Let's put it that way, okay? But then in this part, okay, the fame aspect is basically a result of the action of that person to try to do a lot of research, etc., to try to get that result. Okay, but it is not that he wants to have the fame, but rather he just happened to get this recognized by this prize. Okay, I'll call it a prize for the efforts that he put in and the years of research that he did, etc. Okay, so that's true. But you should also not be, especially when you're cultivating the Tao, you should definitely not be, not that, okay, you want to teach Tao into everywhere, etc. Okay, but that is basically should only be a result of your attainment of the Tao. Okay, so therefore you should not be try to constrained by the facts that there could be fame, fortune, or power. Okay, because after all, when you try to do that, when you try to cultivate the Tao, then in line 15 it says basically, if so, then you will become more and more confused. Because after all, it's basically like saying, I guess, what do they call it? It's called chaos theory. Okay, I don't know if everybody knows about chaos theory, but chaos theory basically just says it's like saying, the example is like weather, trying to predict the weather. When we have like a weather forecast, etc. Basically, most of the time we basically say, we also scientifically say the fact that we can only forecast at most 10 days. And then after that, it's too complicated, etc. Okay. Well, yeah, because that's an effect of what we call the the butterfly effect. Okay. Butterfly effect is just mainly saying that a small initial condition, like a fluttering of a butterfly, can cause great consequences. Okay, so therefore, like this cultivation of the Tao, when you are mindful of the fact that yes, there are these different influences, fame, fortune, and power. Okay, it's possible that you can be more confused, get more and more confused because of the fact that, like the butterfly effect, it basically has a small initial condition, and then it creates a great deal of differences in the consequence of that butterfly. Okay. Okay. So yes, so you should have at least be very mindful of this. Okay, and then the holy teacher basically continues, basically saying that, okay, when tests arrive, we should understand that the cause and effect, or the karma, are all finite. Well, okay. Well, when we talk about finite, it basically means the fact that, yeah, it's finite means fact that I guess you can call it your faith or your destiny. Let's put that. Okay, I guess to put it equally. Okay, I mean equally. Okay. Oh yeah. All right. I described that in line 17. But you should understand that. Also, the fact that when you have karmic influences upon you at that point, because after since it states the fact that when the tests arrived, so therefore you're already in the midst of these testing, let's put it that way. Okay. And so therefore, it is true that you need to try to find a way to not only, but I can say you can still try to escape it, but rather the fact that you need to find a way to find out what are the karmic consequences, let's put it that way, of your previous lives, or even this life. Okay. And so therefore you need to try to understand that. Okay. And then only then, in line 17, the holy teacher says, only as long as you can reconsider or change your thinking, okay, our thinking, okay, then we do not have to follow this fate or destiny. The fate or destiny is that finite that I talked about, okay? And basically, it just means the fact that by just changing our thinking about it, which is, the understanding of this test or cause and effect, okay, that, the karma that we, already has arrived upon us. Therefore, then we do not have to follow this original path that we were taking, okay, which is our, the karmic consequences. Oh, how come I can't? Okay, I can change. Okay, all right. Okay. Then the next line, the holy teacher says that only then can we resolve the crisis and escape the suffering or bitterness of samsara, or transmigration. Okay, so what he's saying, holy teacher is talking about is the fact that so when we try to think, change your way of thinking about this karmic effect, okay, and therefore then we can change our destiny or fate. Okay, we can change it. Okay, now of course many people say that, okay, we talk about karmic effects a lot in the in the temple, because we always say that, oh, okay, you need karmic merit to be able to offset any karmic effects. Okay, and so therefore, what happens when the karmic effect is upon me? So therefore, it requires then that you try to change your way of thinking about this effect. Okay, and also about how you will deal with your, again, current fate. Okay, and therefore, and only then can you then escape or the crisis itself, and also the sufferings of the transmigration. Because after all, when you have karmic effects upon you, it is very difficult for you to try to resolve it, first of all, because after all, it is based on your karmic past. Okay, and also the fact that you're in a state of which, it could be, you could have, be in pain or something, or have different circumstances in your life that will basically, affect your eventual, whether your cultivation or your, whether it's a job or whatever. But so when you try to change that thinking, it's very, very difficult. Okay. Only then can you resolve this crisis, only because of, after all, we talk about, yes, it is true that Holy Teacher has told us that, yes, we must perform penance only because of the fact that, yes, there could be future karmic effects that can come, because after all, we have no idea of, what our karma involves, let's put it that way. Okay, so therefore, it's important the fact that in order to try to escape this crisis, or also not, and also to prevent any future transmigration or some, what they call samsara. Basically, it means the fact that you need to break this pattern of your current fate and destiny. Okay. Okay. Then in the next paragraph, basically, the Holy Teacher says the fact that, okay, you're talking about not about your faith and destiny, but also about how you deal with others. Okay, and yeah, here you're talking about, Holy Teacher is talking about when you contradict or go against the ideas of others. Okay, then to follow up the second line to say, one must learn to stop oneself from self-attachment or persistence. Okay, so basically, it goes to show the fact that, we would like to consider ourselves individuals, but, I guess you can also, there's a saying in Western sayings that no man is an island, you're part of a group, or, a group of people, whatever, etc. Okay. So therefore, it's not just one person. Oh gosh, I don't have time. Okay. Okay. Maybe I need to extend that to 2 weeks. Okay. But anyway, so when you have a different opinion from other people, okay, you first need to stop yourself from this persistent or this self-attachment, because self-attachment is really okay, in Chinese, basically it's the words 执着. Okay, I guess it's the meaning of the word itself, a literal meaning, I believe, is in Buddhism. Okay, it's called self-attachment, attachment to forms, ideas, anything that's tangible or non-tangible. Okay, and basically, if you use that meaning, okay, that's we call self-attachment. Okay. And then persistent, basically, yeah, it's also a definition of the word 执着. Okay, this word 执着. Okay, but it's also, the fact that, when you're talking about contradicting or go against the ideas of others, you're talking about persistence, because after all, you want your ideas to so like be the one, that everybody agrees with, or what other people agrees with. Okay, so you're essentially again talking about the ego. Okay, because after all, the ego is something that we experience in this lifetime. And so based on, the experiences of yourself and others around you that you see or hear or, or learn about. And so therefore, that's eventually comes down to what we call our ego. Okay. And so therefore, when you have this ego, okay, then, yeah, it's true the fact that, yeah, you can, have different ideas, etc. And so therefore, And because we have, I guess, sometimes we have pride also included in there. So therefore, yes, we want, our ideas to be, the dominant, idea, so to speak. Okay. All right. Okay. And then in continuing this point, we talk about, okay, the Holy Jesus says, because everyone has a different view of things and a different use or expenditure. Okay. Well, the word the word 用度, the last two words, basically it just means like use. Okay, technically it's supposed to be use, or yeah, it could be. It also means expenditure. Okay, so it basically means the fact that when you have a group of people and everyone has different ideas or whatever, then yeah, it's possible that yeah, you would get different views, opinions, or different uses or utilization of these, based on what was discussed, in the group. Okay, so therefore, yes, so people will have different views and also utilization of this idea. Okay, and again, this is really revolves around the fact that yes, we have this ego that we have to sort of like be able to be mindful of. Okay. Okay, and then continuing on, basically it says, okay, first in order when we have all these different viewpoints and all that stuff, then you should try to try to get rid the heart, of what's called segregation. Segregation means this. It's in Chinese basically means 分裂心. Okay, it's the heart, your heart of these separate things that are separate, or that you have like your own ideas and I have my own ideas, and yes, they're separate. Okay, they're different ideas, etc. And basically, you need to sort of like get rid of yourself of that, and so this way, get rid basically is the rid part. This part. Okay, that's basically the idea of the fact that you need to still must cooperate and also be harmonized with everyone that you need to meet, okay, or that this group that you have, so that you can try to do things in the right way, etc., or to try to do it the proper way. Okay, so yeah, you need to sort of must try to rid yourself of the separation, okay, of people. Segregation maybe it's not spelled properly. Okay, well anyway, okay, so Holy Jesus continues to say that yeah, do not always insist on your own opinions and refuse to give in. Okay, that's something that really is talking about your own ego. Okay, to be able to only talk about your opinions, or or so I demand everybody know your opinion, and also do not give in to every other people's opinion. Okay, so therefore these are all things that we have in this with this I guess I'll call it ego again. Okay, after all, you need to try to be more considerate of others, because after all, when you are, what does it mean to be considerate? After all, you're talking about the fact that, line 24, okay, because you're talking about the fact that, yes, you have to first listen to other people, and also to be able to think about what they say. Does it affect you, or how it counters you, or fact that you can live with that fact that, okay, we can have like compromises to be able to try to get things done. Okay, and so therefore that is the part that basically Holy Jesus is saying, is the fact that yes, we should also be more considerate of others, because after all, you have your own opinion, but there are also opinions that are different from yours. And so therefore you need to be able to cooperate so that you can, or harmonize to be able to get things done. Only then, that's the next line, only then the Holy Teacher said that things can have a satisfactory ending. Okay, which is basically, the conclusion of what Holy Teacher was talking about earlier, to say the fact that, yes, the only way that you can still be able to get things done and cooperate and harmonize is because of the fact that, you basically eventually compromise, if you will, to this idea, etc. Excuse me, to be able to get something done. So therefore, that is the only time you can have a harmonized or satisfactory ending to this result. Because after all, even when people get in groups and try to discuss something, they have their own ideas, etc. But eventually, if all the ideas are different and they don't want to do anything about it, or they don't want to, they refuse to, give in on it, then nothing gets done. And also nothing, the meeting that, you have basically doesn't resolve anything. So therefore, you need to be able to get that, to get the things done in that meeting. Okay. Unfortunately, I guess I've already taken an hour, but of course, I'll just go over a little bit, over an hour a little bit, just so that we can try to get, move things along. Okay, so therefore, the next line that the Holy Teacher talks about is the fact that he says, get along harmoniously with others. Don't be too serious. Okay, well, that's the another paragraph. And basically, the Holy Teacher is saying the fact that, yes, once you have the satisfactory ending between people, okay, and you harmonize with others, then of course it says here to be more serious. More serious is let's see, 严肃. I think it's this word. Let's see. 表情 阡陌. I think it's this line. I believe it's this one. Okay, but yeah, so when we're talking about too serious, is the fact that, okay, first of all, yes, when you're in a meeting, a group together, you understand the fact that, yes, everything needs to be compromised, so to speak. Okay, and so therefore you need to not be infatuated about holding a grudge against others. Okay, that's one way. That's a little a slight way of saying it. But the point is the fact that, yes, you should not be too serious about that your opinion is the only right opinion, etc. etc. Well, yeah, you shouldn't be really too serious about that, because after all, you are trying to be harmonized or harmony with others. Okay. And then the next line, the Holy Teacher says that using a sincere and friendly attitude to broaden the depth of sentient beings. Okay, all right. So once he has talking, about the fact that, yes, you should be sincere and friendly. Okay, then of course you should have a display and manifest an attitude of that. And so therefore, this way it allows you to be able to broaden the breadth of sentient beings. Broaden the breadth of sentient beings is basically, I guess it's describing this part. Okay. And basically means the fact that, yes, you should be look to, I guess you can say it's very much like saying the presentations from Lecture Jean and also Amy about the fact that, you need to look at the good of others. Okay, so that this way, because after all, everybody has unlimited potential, but the fact that you need to find the good points that they have so that you can encourage them to leave out, if you will, the negative aspects of themselves, so that you can basically encourage them to be able to get things done or to do things. Okay. 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 All right. And then let's see. Okay, so basically that's when you're talking about sentient beings. Sentient beings basically, in terms of us humans, yes, it's just, all living human beings. Okay. Okay. And then the next line basically says that if you were able to do so, okay, selflessly for others. Okay. Basically, he's talking about how we want to manifest this Tao in us, and basically it essentially is to try to be able to be selfless, to be able to try to do others for others. Okay, to do things for others, and so that whether it's like lecturer Gene has said, oh, you could just put on a smile to give joy to other people, for example, or to try to think about good things. When the Amy was talking about the presentation about his worker, because the fact that he's trying to find things that is that has positivity, so to speak, in the worker, so that this way she will not get get the I guess you could say rejected or whatever by that other worker. Okay, so so therefore, yeah, you should be able to try find be selfless. Okay, because after all, when we're talking about selflessness, it basically means the fact that when you talk about like a saint or a Buddha, okay, what is it that they do to become selfless? Because they sacrifice themselves for others, so to speak. Okay, and that basically means being really selfless. Okay, because after all, they only want the you to be able to be better off, so that you can eventually try to encounter the Tao, learn about the Tao, and become blessed by the Tao, and therefore eventually attain the Tao. So after all, the whole idea of bodhisattvas as well as saints is trying to encourage all of us humans to be able to attain the Tao. Okay, and in order to do that, basically they must try at their best to try to help us. Okay, so long it is in the right direction, the right path of cultivation to be able to do that. Okay. Okay. So then the Holy Spirit then continues by saying that only then will they be blessed by heaven. Okay. Well, by blessed by heaven, it basically means the fact that in human terms, basically you can say that okay, it could be like getting good relationships or opportunities to grow in life, to have good health, etc. So therefore, it's basically there's many blessings that's with heaven, okay, can be blessed by heaven, so that you can have opportunities, so that you can you did not have before, so that you can progress within the cultivation of the Tao. Okay, and then the next two lines is basically saying, okay, happiness is not how much or little wealth that you possess, and rather it is about whether you are happy, well, you can be happy and content in this daily life. Okay, so yeah, these two lines basically go together. Happiness is basically this word, happiness. Okay, basically it just means the fact that, you know, the Holy Jesus is telling us the fact that, you know, when you are happy, that's an important thing in life, because after all, when Holy Jesus mentioned before, a long time ago, saying that, you know, happiness is cultivating the style. Okay, and so therefore, in order to be in order to be happy, yes, you must consider about yourself that you're human, and the fact that yes, you have limited, I guess I'll call it resources. Okay, and so therefore, this happiness that you can have or you can find is that whether you can be happy or content in life. Oops, sorry. You content in life. And so therefore, it is really on your daily life, when you are happy, yes, you should find yourself that what you should be, you know, how you can be content and how you can be, I guess you could say, be happy at the same time to be able to enjoy, you know, this cultivation of life. Okay. All right. And then I guess I'll end here only because of the fact that this last part will be very short. And unfortunately, it's sort of like this has a lot of meaning in that. Okay, so I don't want to I don't want to, like, you know, let I don't know, I want to sort of like give hopefully a second session in this, and hopefully it will not be too long before I give the second session, so that you can still remember the first session that, you know, I gave. So thank you very much, and if anything that I said had been was incorrect, I beg for the forgiveness of the saints and Buddhas, and also the predecessors and the lecturers, as well as the transmitters and lecturers, and for any corrections. Thank you again for presenting, listening to this session.
922 in Chinese 学习把分别心去除
Yeah,
means get rid of all the heart of means we are all Buddha reborn. We all have true nature. We should treat everybody equally. Okay, don't have the differentiation from the heart of differentiation from person to person.
Okay,
so treat everybody equally. 分别
Oh, I understand. Okay, I understand. Yeah, because after all, the sixth patriarch said that, you know, the virtue aspect, you know, the 功德 virtue, the 功德, which is the virtue aspect of this that we should have total equanimity between people.
No, the Chinese words have to be changed. That's not the right words. 分别心. Okay, you can update later on. And
okay.
930, Chinese word is wrong. Happiness not depend on how much we have. Yeah. So this Chinese word had to be changed. Yeah, this word have to be updated.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.